one thing that I don't think a lot of people are appreciating with the portal specifically is that the portal answers a lot of the pain points that the community's brought up over the years. Destiny's hard to get into. It's confusing for new players. Even for veteran players, it's like, I don't know what to do. Or if you're going on the pinnacle chase, I can't get those boots. I can't get those gauntlets. There's a lot of pain points that exist in Destiny. And the portal by itself fixes a lot of those issues. Yes, a lot of people say like it's a soulless menu. It's the Fortnitification of Destiny 2 and all of that kind of stuff. All of that stuff aside, the actual application of the portal fixes a lot of pain points. You can literally launch Destiny 2 and you could just jump straight into the game. You know exactly where the new content is. You can get to the tower. You know, you can look at your rewards pass. You can jump into different playlists catered to how you're feeling. Solo, fire team stuff, pinnacle stuff, PvP, all of that from just one menu, chat. That's just the layout. And then when it comes to the actual gameplay elements, the benefits, if you want to go on your power grind, the power grind has even been simplified, which I feel like a lot of people are also not appreciating, right? Power leveling has never been content. Power leveling is a system in the game that you navigate while you enjoy content, right? It's a part of the reward of the grind. But power leveling itself is not the reason to play. Maybe for some people, they just love chasing a number, whatever. But now even power leveling itself is being streamlined in a way that I think works better. Because I can guarantee you there's going to be opinions out there about how seasonal power getting reset is a bad thing. And I said it when they first announced it. Seasonal power is literally artifact power. The only difference is now you earn it. So there's a gameplay incentive. There's a reason to play the game in order to earn your power levels, right? They're putting the gameplay first and then letting the rewards trickle down from your gameplay instead of having an invisible number in the back just go up because you hold on to bounties and you're just earning XP in the background. Now your decisions in the game directly impact your rewards, and the portal contributes to that streamlined power leveling because now you can just see what your rewards are, chat. When you start getting into that seasonal power level grind or even that pinnacle grind, you now have access to activities that show you what they reward you. Whether it's a certain piece of gear, weapon, where you can get certain tiered gear at what difficulty challenge, you can see everything in the game now. So there's no confusion as to what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? What is this? Everything is now in the game. Now, if you want to talk about how the portal looks, maybe if the design can be updated, that's all going to be up to player opinion. Everybody's going to have different opinions about that, about what it should look like, whatever. The portal is going to evolve over time. I don't think that that's an argument against the benefits of the portal. I think that the portal as a system works way better than the director ever did. Now, if you want to talk about the director's advantages, right? Really, if you look at it, the director's been really cool because you're able to navigate the planets in our system, click on them, see the map, see the different places that are on the map, see where you can drop and all that kind of stuff. Now, I don't think we're going to have something like that with Edge Bait. Kepler's not going to be on the destination menu. So you're not going to be able to go to the map, click on it, see the different areas, law sectors, whatever. You're not going to be able to do that. Now it's going to be in the portal. So if you're making an argument for the director because of that, it's like, I get that. I totally get that. But the issue with that is the director's not scalable, chat. The same way that you want Destiny 2 to continue to grow and you want Bungie to continue to just add everything and bring back all the content, the game has to be able to withstand that increase in content that you guys want. All those planets that you want back, all those activities that you want, they have to then all be crammed into the UI of the director. It's not scalable. You can't fit all those planets. You ever seen that image? Somebody made an image of the director with all the content from Destiny 2. I think they might have put Destiny 1 also in there, but all of the content crammed into the director. It doesn't work, right? And if Bungie's going to continue to add stuff into the game over time, you gotta create a better UI that allows you to scale the game up. The portal allows you to do that. The director doesn't. So when people say like the portal is just ass, it's like, okay, I'm not saying that you have to love the portal. I'm not saying the portal is perfect, but what I am saying is we gotta come up with better feedback, right? What are the pros? What are the cons? In my opinion, the biggest pro is the streamlining of power leveling. It's the visibility to know what you're doing, what your rewards are, where to go. It's the ease of access to just jump in, the improved onboarding experience for new players. These are all someone's gonna clip that. These are all pros for the portal, right? In my opinion. And it's highly scalable. Now, if we can see what the director does good and what players really want, and we can try to, bring some of that over into the portal, I think we can find that middle ground. But that's where the discussion has to happen. Because all of the portal sucks, get rid of it, portal sucks, it's trash. You know what I mean? That doesn't help push the game forward. And I feel like a lot of times the dialogue that we have is just trying to keep the game back it's weird to me because we're the same community that complains for a lot of these things to change. So when they change, then we complain because they're changing because we don't like change. It's kind of weird, no? It's a little strange. It's like people have wanted a way to customize their difficulty in the game. We have that. People have wanted a way to chase power levels, but not have, and chase pinnacles, right? But not have to worry about, I've gotten 10 pinnacles and I haven't gotten my boots yet. Now you can just literally target farm, and there's no cap, it seems like, on how high you can go in terms of pinnacle power level, right? There's that mid-season cutoff between Edge of Fate and the first major update. It's like 450, but then beyond that, for the entirety of the Edge of Fate half of the expansion launch, you can go as high as you want with pinnacle power, which again lines up with what artifact power was, because that's essentially, what it is. So, personally, I'm a fan of the portal, chat. I like the portal. Do I think it's perfect? No, but I think it does a lot of things good, and it pushes the game in a better direction to build in a better direction. I have helped so many new players that do not understand the director. They don't know how to navigate or anything. It's just that we have grown accustomed to it over the years. It's our baby. So it's like somebody's trying to take that away from you now, and you're like, no, you can't have it. But in reality, it's like, we gotta let it go. Because honestly, I think the director has hit a ceiling, and it's time to try something new. Hopefully, Bungie hears, good feedback when it comes to the portal, and it can be, built up over time. Because I see people saying like maybe the portal and the director can live in the game at the same time. And I don't really think that that's the future for it. Because when you think about it, how does that work? Because if the portal is intended to streamline the game and make it simple, and there's not going to be an addition of planets to the director, what is the future for the director? Because right now there's a redundancy there. But once we get to a certain point where the game pushes on and we add more and more new locations, and they get added to the portal and not the director, what do we think is going to happen, Chad? The director is going to go eventually. And I think the planetary locations are going to have to be ported over into the portal, right? And at that point, there has to be some kind of way to launch destinations. So that's why I think the future is for the portal, is really finding a way to add a UI element that's interesting for locations within the portal. Or maybe adding a page in the portal where it says destinations or whatever. Maybe you just merge the two, right? So you have your activity launcher, and then you have your patrol launcher, which shows you the destinations tab for each planet, the different locations. That includes Kepler and any new planets, right? And maybe they just update the UI so it's scalable. Maybe there's like a page with planets that you just scroll through the different planets. Maybe you don't have that wide view, but maybe you just have the planetary view, and you select the planet, you select the destination, you launch it, and you go on patrol, right? And I would hope that if we ever get to that point, that there's some updates to the actual planetary locations where there's then world tiers. Because I love the idea of the world tiers that they spoke about, chat. I love the idea of world tiers and being able to increase that difficulty. Because as they were showing it, I was even saying, like, I'm thinking about it. And if you have world tiers with the current destinations as they are, and you have the ability to increase the difficulty of public events, of activities like the Vex incursion on Neo Muna, right? On the Throne World with, what are those activities, chat? The ones that you can match make. I forget the names of them, but there's different activities on the Throne World that you can also do, right? If you had the ability to scale the difficulty of the world tiers and be able to farm for, world loot drops and things like that, just by doing patrols, I think that would be a huge boost to the replayability of locations and just the amount of things you could do in Destiny 2, because I think that's an element that's missing from the last two locations we've had in the Pale Heart and now with Kepler, is the explorability with random players. Because from what it sounds like Kepler is going to be pretty similar to the Pale Heart, where you launch solo and you can matchmake with people, but it doesn't seem like a dynamic space where you're just going to run into players. It doesn't feel like it's going to be a social hub like other planets are, you know? So I mean, I don't know if that's the direction they're going to go in. Maybe they haven't said anything official, but it seems like that's the case. But that's something that I'd love to see, you know, be explored and expanded upon, because that's something I've always loved. It's not incentivized, right? And it's not really like a main feature of the game. Like, you don't tell people like Destiny's awesome, we just go and we can just chill on planets and just do public events. Nobody's really doing that. But that's always been a vision of mine, is between the GMs, between the raids, you know, between PvP, when my friends are not on, I could just jump into a planetary location, put up the world tiers, and just do public events, do public activities, fight, you know, high value targets, world bosses, whatever the case is, and farm for some, you know, fun world loot drops and whatnot. So I think that's an element of the game that's missing. Even to have like, you know, leisure activities like fishing, bring it into the game full time, and sparrow racing on planetary locations. Like, these are bigger ideas, chat, that I have for like the future of the game. But that's something, you know, just to kind of get back to the point, that I can see getting built into something like the Portal if they ever merged the director and the Portal into kind of like one interface. But that's the kind of conversations I think we should be having, you know, when it comes to these new things coming into the game. Not these conversations about just rejecting everything new, but really seeing like what's the benefits and what don't we like, and trying to find that middle ground to really give some constructive feedback so that the game can evolve into, you know, the best version of itself for most players, because you're never going to please everybody.